Eko Ekitikete. It is with a deep sense of humility and gratitude to God Almighty that I address you this first day of January, the year of our Lord 2014. We have come to the end of a very eventful, challenging, yet successful year 2013. As a state and as a people, I express profound gratitude to God for seeing us into a new year. I also take this opportunity to wish us all, individually and collectively, a happy new year. May the year bring bountiful blessings to us all. Dear compatriots, about 7 years ago, I came to you asking that you vote me in as your governor. In spite of the general mistrust in the air at the time, you trusted me and gave your votes freely to me. All through the harrowing years of the legal battle to reclaim our stolen mandate, you stood solidly by me and never despaired, trusting me more to be the God-sent agent to bring succor after years of disappointment, despondency, and despair. And right into my administration, you have remained unshaken in that trust. That trust, your trust, has been a burden ever since I embarked on this journey, and what forms the fulcrum of my priority every day on this job is how to strive more not to betray your trust. The last 3 years have been eventful and exhilarating in our avowed quest to repair the damage done to our Commonwealth, and at the same time restart the clock of progress in the state. Looking back now, I can confidently report that things are really looking up, and the light of economic growth and development is shining again. We have been able to achieve this through a clinical implementation of the Roadmap to Ekiti Recovery, popularly known as the 8-point agenda. And I urge everyone to reconcile our achievements with my inaugural speech on October 16, 2010, to see how within a span of 3 years, we have been able, through self-denial, perseverance, and prudent management of scarce resources, turned around a seemingly hopeless situation for better. Ekiti today is an investment haven, a tourist destination of choice, the toast of development partners, and a reference point in good and responsive governance, because we have confronted headlong the critical questions of development vis-a-vis stagnation. and improve access to medical facilities across the state. Through our investment in medical education, the Ekiti State School of Nursing and Midwifery achieved a 90% success rate in the National Nursing Examination. This came about as a result of our massive investment in providing the conducive environment for learning in the institution. We're now rebuilding the administration building that was burnt last year, whilst also improving the accommodation facilities in the school. The new year shall witness work on the School of Midwifery in Orun Ekiti. We have constructed a new accident and emergency wing in the Ekiti State University Teaching Hospital, established and recently commissioned the Fumi Olayinka Diagnostic Center, fully equipped with the state-of-the-art screening equipment, whilst also creating a state health data bank. In 2014, we shall embark on the renovation of the theaters, operating theaters at the Ekiti State University Teaching Hospital, whilst completing the Obade Jugbe General Hospital in Ado Ekiti. We have also procured ambulances for all our secondary health facilities. Our health sector indices vis-a-vis the national average bear testimony to the significant steps being taken. Ekiti State now has one of the lowest maternal and child mortality rates in the country, the lowest HIV prevalence in the country, and the highest life expectancy in Nigeria. All other vital indices in the health sector have been on the rise in Ekiti State, with the number of healthcare facilities rising to 495 from about 350 inherited from the previous administration. In industrial development, in 2013, to jumpstart industrial development in the state, our wholly owned Fountain Holdings Limited became fully operational as the holding company that manages the investment portfolio of the state and represents the government in public-private partnerships. I'm happy today to inform you all that two moribund industries, Ire Bricks Factory, dead in the last 21 years, Fountain Aggregate Quarries in Igbemo, and Odua Enterprise Center, formerly Odua Textiles, equally comatose in the last 23 years, have all been resuscitated. The new initiative is expanding the state resources, providing numerous job opportunities, encouraging new skills acquisitions by workers, and ultimately enlarging the middle class in our state. New plywood factory is currently being constructed in Iluomoba and Umo, whilst the ceramics factory is underway in Ishon Ekiti. Apart from the resuscitation of the three moribund factories, there are other public investments under the management of Fountain Holdings Limited, such as Fountain Hotels Limited, Elisha Yam Storage Project, Ikogosi Warm and Cold Springs Resort, Fountain Solid Minerals Development Company, Fountain Dairy Farms, and Ikogosi Water Bottling Company, popular producers of Gossi water, whose viability and prospects are now being enhanced. The Ekiti State Enterprise Development Agency, charged with encouraging, promoting, and coordinating investment activities in the state, has continued to successfully stimulate economic growth. 3 enterprise development centers have been commissioned at Iloro, Aisegba, and Ilupeju to train people in entrepreneurial skills. The number of small-scale industries in the state doubled within the last 2 years, with 1,066 recorded in 2011 and close to 2,500 recorded in 2013, with more still springing up as a result of prevailing favorable business environment. Our development of a knowledge economy has been bolstered with the fiber optic project mentioned earlier, as well as government's empaneling of a steering committee for the development of the Ekiti State Knowledge Zone that will soon submit its recommendations. In tourism, as stated earlier, in 2013, we concluded the first phase of the redevelopment of the Ikogosi Warm Spring Resort as the flagship tourist destination in the state. About 116 hectares of land was acquired for the new resort, with plans for theme parks, high-altitude sports academy, and resource center for women, a golf course and golf estate, entertainment centers, and a games reserve. We also advanced our plans to make Ekiti State a most attractive destination for relaxation and holidays by developing the Efon, Okemesi, Ikogosi, and Ipole Iloro tourism corridor. No doubt, it is now a place that the world will come to and enjoy the beauty of nature. It is gratifying to note that through our modest intervention, Ikogosi Warm Spring Resort has been globally recognized and listed among the top 7 natural wonders in Nigeria. We also sustain the hosting of the annual Ekiti State Festival of Arts and Culture, which is an event that celebrates our indigenous arts and culture. Also in 2013, we collaborated with the Council of Obas to produce the maiden edition of the historical royal compendium of all the communities in Ekiti State. The compendium is the collection of the history of the various towns as put together by our highly revered royal fathers in conjunction with their people. In the context of gender equality and women's empowerment, our government has deliberately embraced the Millennium Development Goals of promoting gender equality and women empowerment. Consequently, our administration built upon our achievements in 2012 by providing the requisite legislations and signing into law the Equal Opportunities Law 2013. We have also sustained our enlightenment campaign for our people to be aware of the rights and privileges under such legislations. To further ensure that we create public awareness on gender-related issues, our administration introduced a number of initiatives targeted at women and children. For instance, the number of school-based child rights clubs was increased from 37 in 2010 to close to 100 in 2013, while the number of functional women cooperative society has more than quadrupled since 2010. Many of these women's cooperative societies are going to be beneficiaries of the joint funding provided by Ekiti State Government and the Bank of Agriculture, totaling 600 million naira for the cooperative sector in the year 2014. Our women have also been trained in one trade or the other, and they've received financial support to enable them set up their businesses, thus enhancing their economic empowerment. Similarly, we're providing skills acquisition programs for out-of-school girls, supporting girl-child education, strengthening the family court system, establishing early child centers, and also improving on the implementation and administration of children and family matters. The Soup Kitchen and Food Bank, run by the Ekiti Development Foundation, have continued to provide succor to indigent women in the state, and I want to commend the wife of Mr. Governor for our unrelenting advocacy in this regard. With these giant strides, Ekiti State has become a beacon of hope and a shining light on issues of gender equality and women's empowerment in the entire country. Even with all of these successes, challenges abound. Whilst there is evidence of the great strides that our government has taken in all of these areas, all of us know that there can be no gain without pain. The journey to recovery in Ekiti State has certainly not been painless. But this government is a compassionate government that does not derive any pleasure from inflicting pain on the generality of its people. We must commend our people, therefore, for their generosity of spirit in enduring some short-term difficulties for the long-term gain to the greater majority of our citizens. In the course of the past year, some of our people, either out of sheer ignorance or deliberate mischief, have questioned the rationale behind our going to the capital market for long-term borrowings to support legacy projects. The simple explanation for going to the capital market is that we're determined to lay a solid foundation for our state, to undertake some of the regenerative projects necessary to accomplish our objective of modernizing Ekiti State and making poverty history by guaranteeing rapid development. The resources available from our allocation from the Federation account and other sources barely cover our recurrent expenditure. The choice is therefore simple, and it is to pay salaries and emoluments of our workers and cover other running costs, but ignore every single developmental project. The other choice was to explore creative and innovative means of fulfilling our campaign promises to Ekiti people as a whole, without shirking our obligations to our workers. I'm happy to report that we have successfully achieved both. Indeed, this was the context of our approaching the capital market in 2011 for a 25 billion naira bond issuance, 20 billion of which we accessed in December 2011, and the balance of 5 billion naira which we completed just yesterday. Already, at a repayment rate of 400 million naira per month deducted from source, we have already paid 9.6 billion naira by the end of December 2013, whilst the value of the projects funded have tripled. Projects like Ikogosi Warm Spring Resort, the Iwe Bricks Factory, and the College of Agriculture funded from the bond are not only going to recruit over 1,000 people directly and over 10,000 indirect jobs, they are also going to add value to the quality of lives of our people. That is the nature of the regenerative projects embarked upon with the funds, and these are projects that will have lifelong value to the state, long after this government would have completed its work in the state. The same is true of the access facilitated by the new roads within the state in terms of improving the business competitiveness of Ekiti in the Committee of State. My fellow honorable people of Ekiti State, having reviewed all of what transpired in 2013, 2014 certainly promises to be a very eventful year. Our administration will continue steadfastly with our mission to deliver on our roadmap to Ekiti State recovery, our 8-point agenda. In consultation with stakeholders across the state, we have developed the 2014 budget, which has been duly signed into law. The objectives of the budget are as follows. One is a commitment to aggressive and internal revenue generation, a concerted effort to complete all critical capital projects that are central to our 8-point agenda. 3 is accelerated empowerment of rural community through strengthening of the community-based development initiatives that we started last year. 4th is a radical approach to reducing the level of poverty of the citizenry through provision of conducive environment for job and wealth creation, youth and women empowerment. And 5th is an improvement on the effectiveness and functionality of our health sector with a view to coordinating the quality of healthcare delivery service. 6 is an improvement on the quality and functionality of our education. 7 is the improvement in socioeconomic infrastructure, such as rural urban roads, water supply, and rural electrification. 8 is the provision of enabling environment for security and agro-based industries with immense private sector participation. 9 is an aggressive pursuit of the agenda of Ekiti as a destination of choice for tourists. 10 is the maintenance of efficient, effective, and well-motivated public service for enhanced productivity. And 11 is the sustenance of good government through budget discipline, probity, and accountability in the utilization of public funds. For further consolidation of our administration's efforts so far, government will apply brakes on fiscal expansion. We shall reduce budget deficit and largely use the year 2014 to focus on the completion and commissioning of all ongoing projects. For this reason, and to reflect the thrust of governance this year, we have christened 2014 the year of stability and growth. I count on the sustained support of stakeholders across the state and beyond as we steer the ship of state under the guidance of God Almighty so that we can meet and surpass all of these goals. Let me talk briefly on local government reforms. One of the most critical yearnings of our people during my village square and town hall meetings relates to the quest to bring government closer to the people through the creation of local government development areas. Everywhere I turned during my tour, the noise was deafening in relation to the creation of new local government development areas. As a first step, I have sought the advice of the Honorable Attorney General on the constitutionality of establishing local government development areas. I have received his legal opinion on this. In response to this well-founded desire, government has decided to establish a commission to look into the claims from the various parts of the state, and we expect that the process will be completed no later than the end of the second quarter of 2014. In addition, it is our expectation that the much expected local government elections that had been delayed due to litigations and counter-litigations would hold this year. One of the issues that created some misunderstanding between workers and government relate to the restructuring efforts of government in the local governments. We embarked on the restructuring of our local government administration to achieve efficiency, equality, sense of pride, and accountability. Whilst most of our people are hardworking and they slave day and night to earn their wages in the various local governments, some opportunists who saw local government work as an avenue through which they could garner unearned money stayed away from work. Their only relationship with the local government where they claimed to work was the monthly salary drawn from the place, a salary for which they didn't work. This set of people are those who eroded the sense of pride in local government work, making it appear as if those who work in local government are lazy, whereas the local government is the closest and the most responsive to our people at the grassroots. This singular reason was why we could not allow those who would let the purpose for which the local government system was created be defeated. Besides, it is injustice to those who are hardworking at the local governments if there are others who earn salaries at the same office for doing nothing. Whilst we have taken on board some of the criticism of the reform process, both from the National Union of Local Government Employees and our workers, all of whom I met during my tour early December 2013, our commitment to local government reforms aimed at restoring a pride of place to the local government remains unshaken. In less than 1 year, we have saved over 400 million naira from the biometric integrated payroll system introduced. Let me also use this opportunity to reiterate my pledge to our pensioners that the much expected payment of 6% and 15% rise in pension will take full effect early in 2014. Government will also endeavor to clear outstanding gratuities within the limits of the state resources. Our commitment to start the contribution pension scheme in agreement with the labor union is also going to be further pursued. In the area of administration of justice, the process of reforming our justice system has continued in earnest. We have continued to provide support to law enforcement agencies. In particular, we have supported the Nigerian Police Force, specifically with operational vehicles, to enable them respond appropriately to incidents of crime. We have also provided support to the Nigerian Prison Service in furtherance of our resolve to treat humanely our sons and daughters who come into conflict with the law. I am also pleased to announce that the Ministry of Justice has embarked on far-reaching legal reforms in the administration of justice in Ekiti State. A number of bills have been sent to the State House of Assembly for consideration and possible passage. These are the Administration of Criminal Justice Bill, the Magistrate Courts Bill, the Customary Courts Bill, the Law Reform Commission Bill, and the Right of Person with Disabilities Bill. I also note with some satisfaction that progress has been made on the bill for the establishment of the Office of the Public Defender. No doubt, when passed into law, this bill will ensure that a greater number of our people, particularly the vulnerable, have access to justice. The Advisory Committee on Prerogative of Mercy has recommended a number of prisoners for possible release. My office will shortly announce the names of benefiting prison inmates. This will be a continuous exercise with the sole objective of ensuring that persons who come into conflict with the law, particularly minor offenses, are given a second chance to reform and be useful members of the community. Let me touch on an issue that is not directly related to us as Ekiti State. The year 2014 is Nigeria's centenary. Distinguished sons and daughters of Ekiti, as you know, as part of the Nigerian Federation, it behoves us as a state to reflect upon Nigeria's attainment of 100 years as a country in the year 2014. As a very heterogeneous country with over 250 distinct ethnic nationalities, we have come a long way in building a united and functional federation. We have experienced the highs and lows in our trajectory as a nation. Our forebears fought for and achieved independence from the British colonialists and dreamed of building a prosperous nation. We have fought a very tough war to keep our country as one, and afterwards gone to great lengths to reintegrate all parts of the country in peace and unity. No doubt we have a long way to go, but we must acknowledge that we have come a long way too. Our progress has been stunted by the demons of corruption and various forms of institutionalized injustices in the polity, leading to poor developmental outcomes across the country, but particularly more acute in some areas. Certainly, this is not where we're meant to be as a nation, considering our vast natural and human resources. Our very poor level of development in the midst of plenty accounts for the rise of criminal insurgencies and exacerbation of ethno-religious and other micro-nationalist tensions in the country today, stretching our security establishments thin and leading to the wanton loss of lives and property. Nigeria's centennial coincides with a new phase of our struggle for the soul of the nation. 2013 was a very historic year in the political space, as we all witnessed. 2014 promises to be even more eventful. I therefore urge us all, as a people whose destiny is connected inextricably with our great country, Nigeria, to keep praying even as we support the agitation for the restoration of true federalism and the entrenchment of equity and justice in our polity. I must, however, remind us all that a nation, in spite of the complex institutions and structures, boils down to the family unit comprising individuals. Indeed, the fate of Nigeria is in your hands and is dependent on the choices and decisions each and every one of us makes every day. We cannot collectively be complaining of corruption bedeviling the nation when in our individual lives we cut corners and devise ways to undermine laws of the land and the institutions that enforce these laws. Therefore, as Nigeria clocks 100 years today, I commend us all to rededicate our lives to practicing the ethos of honor and integrity that we Ekiti are known for in our individual lives, in our families, and in our various communities. By the grace of God and the righteousness of our people, Nigeria will overcome our current travails and once again be exalted in the community of nations. Dear compatriots, as you also know, the year 2014 is a year of crucial decision in our state. It is the year of election. Our still young republic grapples with the legacy of militarism, its violent imprint in our politics, and a generational perception of political competition as a form of warfare. It is unfortunate that politics is not widely seen as a contest of ideas for hearts and minds, but a desperate means to get to power by all means possible. I take this opportunity to remind all and sundry, particularly those who would be interested in contesting the upcoming election, that the quality of power is defined by the nature of its pursuit. When we mortgage our conscience and values in the pursuit of power, no matter how dignified or admirable our intentions, it costs us bits of our humanity and deprives governance of the moral authority that is its true foundation. We should all refrain from inciting our people to violence and other negative tendencies. Ultimately, an anarchic approach in which the contestants for power deploy all means, fair or foul, do or die, to win delegitimizes and dehumanizes politics. We cannot afford to lose the grounds we have covered in establishing peace and tranquility in Ekiti over the last few years. I urge all our people to join us in appealing to every aspirant not to make their liberty a bondage for Ekiti people. We should all focus on issue-based campaign while we sell our candidacy to our people. I urge all our people to demand of every contestant what he or she can do differently from what this administration has done for you. It is a fact that we have touched all communities in our development drive, and these facts, these tangibles, are what we will be campaigning with, not lies, not violence. Ekiti people have a duty to sift through all promises, all statements, all lies, all truths, to arrive at their own conclusion and make the best decision that will further galvanize our dear Ekiti state on the already begun journey to lasting development and progress. It behoves us to remember that great nations thrive on age-long adherence to core values, principles, customs, and tradition of integrity, honesty, and a high strength of character. We will continue to drum this up at all fora until we restore our dear state to its age-long position of honor. Our government shall continue to provide the required leadership and strive to meet its obligations to all in the face of depleting resources. We also seek the cooperation of all and sundry to join the task of sustaining our modest achievements so far. We're holding the candle to our people to find the pathway to prosperity. There are many tasks ahead, and we still have a very long way to go. But with you on our side, we shall all get to the promised land. I have no doubt in my mind that we have laid the foundation for the creation of an enabling, democratic, prosperous, and greater Ekiti, where poverty will become history. As we continue to celebrate the new year, I once again reaffirm that along with members of my administration, to stand for justice and equity, to redouble our efforts at building a state we can all be proud of. I cannot end this address without touching on my concern for the security of lives and property in the state. You would all recall that during the defense of the mandate you freely gave to me, I ensured that my supporters, in the face of the most dehumanizing provocations and affront, did not breach the peace of the state. And I said it then that I do not want to preside over the dead, but the living. I am a firm believer in the sanctity of life, and on no occasion will I tolerate the attempt by desperate politicians and agents of reactionary tendencies to import violence into the state and subsequently turn around to blame such on the government. We are aware of several subterranean plans to subvert the peace and tranquility of Ekiti State as we march towards the 2014 elections. We're not losing sleep over this because the indomitable anti-slavery resistance spirit of Ekiti people is still alive. As your governor, I shall leave no stone unturned to defend your lives and property, even from marauding neighbors. But to achieve this, you must be ever ready to provide information to security agencies in the state. And I hereby sound a note of warning to desperate politicians to ply their trade with decorum, with decency, knowing that Ekiti State is greater than all of us. This government shall henceforth view with all seriousness any deliberate breach of the hard-earned peace in our state. As we march into the future with confidence, be assured that my sacred social contract with the people of Ekiti State will continue to be renewed to meet expectations and current realities. I therefore call on all stakeholders, the people, the political elite, traditional institutions, security agencies, to put in all efforts to ensure Ekiti records a free and fair and credible election that will be a model to other states and a reflection of the honorable people that we are. In conclusion, dear honorable people, as I come to the close of this address, I join my faith with yours that in the year 2014, our good Lord will crown all our efforts with good success, and we shall all witness stability and growth in our individual lives and circumstances and collectively as a state. I wish you all a happy new year 2014. I thank you very much for listening. Ekiti, Agbeao.